Hi, I'm Monique, and we are talking to established psychics, mediums, and other spiritual practitioners on their first years on their journey. Today, we're speaking with Gia al Qamar. She's an evidential spiritual medium, psychic, Reiki master, and animal communicator, and she's located in northern New Jersey. Welcome, Gia.
Hello, Monique. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So just before we get started and jumping into your first years, can you tell everyone a little bit about what you do and what your specialty is?
I consider myself to be a spiritual and evidential medium, which means that I work with divine spirit and the souls of those who've crossed over to provide evidence of the existence of life after the passing of the physical body. I also consider myself to be a psychic. I am a Reiki master, and I do animal communication.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you. And can you tell us a little bit about where you were when you realized you were just starting on this spiritual journey? What was going through your mind? What were you doing?
You know, it's such a wonderful question because I really see so many different aspects of my spirituality coming into bloom. I was very aware of my own connection to divine energy, what people call the spirit or God or the great white light. When I was a child, at the time of like turning 13, I definitely felt the rumblings of the need to be attached to spirituality, religion.
Yeah.
My family was completely the contrary. So it kind of went to sleep again and then blossomed again in my teens and then went to sleep again. And then really in probably my late 30s into my 40s was when, as an adult, it really took hold, that I really felt that I was very much immersed in this need to be reconnected to this part of myself and to my higher self.
Interesting. What did that feel like? Like what was going through your head at these times, especially in this kind of last stages where you've really blossomed, you've become an established medium in Jersey, and so what was going through your mind? Like, how did you deal with that?
Long before I thought about presenting this to the public, this was really strictly a way for me to connect with my higher self. And that sounds very woo-woo to a lot of people who may be not familiar with that, but there's a yearning, an appetite, a curiosity about the repetition of things that happen in your life, like seeing numbers over and over again, like being called to certain symbols, being attracted to geese have always held like some special magical meaning for me. I will stop dead in the middle of the street to watch them fly overhead, and I always have. So it's that hearkening back to the childhood as an adult where you get this literally a calling, where you hear something in your head, you feel something in your spirit, you feel something in your soul that is calling you to it's calling you. So you there's a feeling of wanting very much to answer that call and to find out why am I attracted to these things? Why do I keep seeing these symbols? Why do I hear things or see things or feel things?
Do you think that question why really helped to kind of propel you forward and keep you from not giving up? Was that desire to figure out what the why is?
I am a flip to the end of the book kind of person. So when people ask me like, what drives you? My curiosity really does.
Okay.
I have curiosity about everything in the world, everything in the other world, and everything in myself. So that curiosity is what definitely propels me forward.
That's great. What kind of obstacles did you run into in those first years? What kinds of things did you kind of have to get through to keep moving forward and to try and overcome?
There's I'm very blessed to live in an area where education is very available to me. So the exploration of these things, some things happened, a class would show up and the path was very well lit for me. But in the beginning, and I think that everybody has this moment, if not repeated moments, is that feeling of, is this in my head? I'm doubting myself. Everybody I know has trust issues, and how many trust issues you have, how big that gets, is definitely a mark of how difficult it's going to be for you. We find out much later in our development as mediums and psychics that we fully need to work on ourselves as human beings. So the trust that we have is not really in other things or other people, but in ourselves.
In ourselves. That makes a lot of sense. Do you think that that's a part of the advice you would give to someone on their early journey, or do you have a special nugget of advice that you would give to people starting out?
I could sit for days and days and days and give advice, because that's my milieu. But I really feel that innate sacred trust in yourself. If we see ourselves as instruments of the divine, and we talk about psychic work as divining, we're in divination, and this comes from the word divine. So we're talking about divine in ourselves, and if we are really holding that place in ourselves as sacred, as saying, I know I feel something, I know I am sensing something, I know that I'm having these experiences, that all of the doubts that will come, to know absolutely positively they will come, that you will say, well, I'm having mental doubts about it, but my soul knows that I have to work this out.
Right.
That's the big one. The second one is education.
Yeah. Okay.
Get a good education. Get an education about yourself. Get an education about the spirit world, and get an education about technique.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us and giving us some awesome advice. If someone wanted to reach out to you and talk to you about your services and acquire your services, how could they do that?
Anybody is welcome to contact me via email by way of either of my two sites. New Jersey Tarot is njtarot.com,
Okay.
or New Jersey Medium, njmedium.net. And you can find my email through that. I do appointments only, no walk-ins, so that we can have good sacred time together.
Perfect. And I'll put that in the description as well as in the video as for people to use.
Or people can reach me by email directly at IDreamofGia@AOL.com.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much again for sharing your stories with us. And I'll put all that information in the description below.
Wonderful.
Thank you for those who are watching. And thank you for those who are watching. Please like and subscribe.
Thank you, Monique.
Thank you.